Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode number 55 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. There's not many people that'll understand what you're going through, but I think this guy, Xavier, is one of them. He seems to genuinely want to help you, and that's a rare thing for people like us. So, what do you say? We give these geeks one more shot? Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going around the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
And this is Rachel, currently in South Bend, Indiana. Hello, everyone. Mitch is here, but she's on mute. Mitch is camping and is awaiting fireworks. So there's a lot of background noise, so she's here, but not here.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
Yep. And Holly was not feeling well.
She was here for pre-show, so it's all good.
Yeah. And Holly is not feeling well, so we're going to be very ish this week. But we're going to soldier on with...
That is our format.
With everything. So, we'll see how it goes. We're all just dragging a little bit. We shall...
It's Saturday night, and... In my case, in Utah, it's a holiday weekend, so everybody's been partying, and I'm, like, dead.
Yeah.
I just came back from seeing Ant-Man, which is fabulous. I really love it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's keep the train moving down the track, as it were, and get straight into news. So, piece of news that came through that made me excited, at least. I know it made Holly excited, too. As we all know, there is a X-Files reboot-ish. I guess it's more like the Heroes, where it's not necessarily a brand new series. It's going to be a mini-series, but a continuation of the X-Files. Anyway, that's coming. But they have announced that they are bringing back the Lone Gunmen, which makes me very excited because I love the Logan. They are some of my favorite characters in the X-Files. So, they got their, if you're familiar with the X-Files or if you're not, that they ended up with their own spin-off there for a short while, which wasn't very successful, which made me sad because I loved it. But yeah, they...
it always seems to happen. The things that you love, everyone else is like, eh. You're like, you're missing out.
Yep.
What do you mean, eh?
Yeah. So, but yeah, one of the gunmen confirmed on Twitter that he and his companions shall be returning. So, how that will all play in, considering what happened to the gunmen in the X-Files series, we don't know. Spoilers.
What, did they all die? Get sent to another dimension?
They all died.
Or...
Well, they supposedly all died.
Oh.
They're supposed to be dead. So we shall see.
Well, this is sci-fi, so you can resurrect whoever you darn well want to, as long as you explain it well enough.
Exactly.
And sometimes you don't explain it.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't. That's true.
Sometimes you just hand wave it away and like, they're back, just accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Which sort of dovetails into the next bit of news.
Yeah, actually.
If you want it to, I'm not telling Rachel to quit or anything.
No. Hey, segue, take it. Go ahead, right on ahead.
Anyway, next bit of news is we have more information for Legends of Tomorrow, which is the spin-off of Arrow and The Flash. I couldn't think of it for a second. Arrow executive producer Mark Guggenheim. Yeah. Thank you. Revealed to Online that we won't have to wait until the premiere of Legends of Tomorrow to see how former Black Canary Sarah Lance is resurrected. The White Canary will be launched in the first few episodes of Arrow, he divulged. Season 4 of Arrow begins in October, and by the time we get to the 8th episode, which should air late November or early December, the CW will have a superhero crossover event with Legends of Tomorrow and The Flash. He added Season 4, Episode 8, our typical crossover episode. We'll be doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of getting the Legends of Tomorrow characters set up and also seeing where they are with relation to The Flash. It's going to be a big episode.
So now I'm looking at this. So does that mean Legends of Tomorrow premieres later than Arrow and Flash are going to premiere this year? So they're going to set up Legends of Tomorrow? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Because I just realized now I never heard a set premiere date for Legends of Tomorrow.
I think it's a mid-season.
Maybe.
I'm okay with this
replacement.
And I don't get the entire premiere dump in September and October, and I'm suddenly going from nothing to watch to everything to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, according to what I'm seeing online, it doesn't air until next year. So probably when they come back.
Got it.
When they come back from the break or during the break again, I don't know.
Yeah.
We will see.
All I know is if I want to have to start watching these, I need to get on it because it's getting more and more because like you had The Flash, which was a pseudo kind of spin-off of Arrow, and now you've got another spin-off of the other two shows. Like my brain.
This is like
my brain.
DC. What they're doing, and I think Supergirl is kind of tied into this, except Supergirl's over on CBS, whatever. And I think probably what's going to end up happening, it's becoming like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, except it's not movies, it's on TV.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how this is going. So they started with Arrow, and to see how that, and so they're like, see how much success that has, and then they're like, oh, let's do The Flash, let's do Legends of Tomorrow, and then Supergirl, and all this stuff, and so it's like interesting.
Oh, either this passed my radar, or I totally forgot, but there's a web series called Vixen coming out. Have you guys heard that?
Oh, Mitch? No, I haven't.
Oh, it's
Mitch. Mitch just messaged in our Facebook chat that the Comic-Con panel in San Diego, that Legends of Tomorrow is indeed a mid-season premiere. So thank you, Mitch, for
thank you, Mitch.
us in. I must have missed that tidbit, but it happens. that's why there's 5 of us. We all find different stuff.
Between the 5 of us, we'll get all the info.
Yes.
Yes. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "You're welcome." This is going to be interesting. This is an interesting way of doing this. I like it. Oh,
real quick. Apparently, there's this web series called Vixen. It's an animated series that's going to be aired on the CW Seed, and it's set in the same universe as Arrow, The Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. So I'm guessing it's going to tie in somehow.
Wow. So that's like... So that'll be like the Netflix series.
Yeah.
In a way, I guess.
In a way. I'm drawing parallels here.
They have Arrow, The Flash, Felicity, and Cisco in it, so I might have to check this out.
Well, there you go. It's part of the universe then, because if they're in it, then there you go.
Alrighty then.
Cool. But yeah, if you want to get caught up with the DC TV universe, you might want to get started on that and hope you don't have anything real life pressing to do between now and September. It is now the end of July. So anyway, it's worth it though. So anyway, next bit of news, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Going for it?
Yep.
This one, I had the news of this before San Diego Comic-Con, but, it just sort of got pushed around just because that's what happens. And if you love Once Upon a Time, if you love Funko Pop vinyls, your wallets are gonna start crying again because Once Upon a Time is getting Funko Pops. I'm so excited for this. And they have there's gonna be the first set. They're coming out in October, and they've released images of the first 6. I'm sure there will be more. In fact, they've already done a variant for San Diego Comic-Con. You have Captain Hook, you have Emma Swan, you have Prince Charming, you have Regina, the Evil Queen, in her Evil Queen outfit, which I'm like, why didn't they just call her the Evil Queen on the box? They do have Rumpelstiltskin as the Dark One, and he's like got the glittery gold skin, and I do like his face. The way they did it, it's just so Dark One. I like it. I don't know if I'll buy that one, but there it is. And then they have Snow White, and then the one that they did a variant of was Regina. They had her in her black and silver dress, but it's the same mold. The not variant one is her black and purple. So I need Captain Hook. I need Emma Swan, so they can sit next to my Elsa that's on my shelf. Because then I can have Elsa be Once Upon a Time and for Frozen. So I got this all figured out. And they're so cute. I love them. I kind of hope they do like a Belle and a Robin Hood. I hope they get a Henry. Henry would be fun, and he'll have his little book. I'm just thinking of all the different things they could do, because they do a lot of these.
I see them, like they're in like Hot Topic and all in places like that, and I see them, and I have to resist the urge to buy them.
Oh,
it's like I don't
need
so
many
them.
of them, and they do have Doctor Who ones out, but they don't have the 5th Doctor. And that bothers me.
I know, but they have the Doctor Who, and they have the Marvel. Like, I could get a little Funko Pop vinyl of Groot. And it's like, I resist.
and the Groot one actually is a bobblehead. Because most of these aren't bobbleheads. Although I'm looking at these, and Emma Swan, I think she's gonna have a hard time standing up because her head's so big, and the way her feet are standing, she's gonna be like. She's going to tip over. Like the rest of them, like Regina's got her dress, and that'll kind of steady her. Snow White might have the same problem too, but the rest are like, you know, their feet are such that, like Captain Hook, I can definitely see him still standing up. And he's got the little red vest. I love his red vest.
Well, if Emma doesn't stand up quite right, you can just have Vinyl Hook, you know, hold her up. He'll support her.
Yes, there we go. Yes, he will. Which he does all the time in real life. Yes, you fixed it for me, Rachel.
I don't need them. I want them, but I don't need them. And especially Chrissy got some, and she got a Vinyl Coulson, and I'm like, I need the Vinyl Coulson.
Oh, that was Brittany.
Yeah, Brittany. One of you.
That was me. I was like, I don't have. The only one I have is Elsa.
Someone has the Vinyl Coulson, and I want to steal it from you.
That's Brittany.
Okay.
She's got Vinyl Coulson, and he looks. Do his glasses come off, Brittany?
I've tried, but no.
Okay, I was just curious because they look like they could.
Like they look like they look like they could come off, but I don't want to force it because they're like. In them, like little pegs.
No.
With his ears and his nose, but I don't want to pull it off.
Don't break them.
Yeah.
Don't break them.
Don't hurt the Coulson.
I just realized this. Captain Hook, he's got the eyebrow game going. That is totally a Colin thing. Oh my gosh, I got way excited all of a sudden. And I'm sad because these won't come out before Salt Lake Comic Con. They're out in October, and Comic Con's the end of September. And I'll be like, I want to buy them at Comic Con.
Maybe they would have to
get all of them. Snow White's kind of meh. Well, not at Salt Lake Comic Con.
Oh,
maybe somebody will have. Maybe somebody will have like some early goodies, and I can. But if nothing else, at least I can get an Anna to go with my Elsa because I still don't have Anna.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
there we go. Okay, I got it
my
figured
collection yesterday due to my friend surprising me. Now I'm like, now I need more.
Which is why I haven't bought any, because it's like opening a can of Pringles. Once you pop, you don't stop.
Exactly. Oh,
Yes.
and Coulson is Bobblehead, and so is Professor X. But Kaylee isn't. So
Oh my
I was having
gosh.
fun bobbing.
Bobblehead Coulson.
I'm just having way too fun.
So is Coulson the only Shield one, or is like how does that set work, or do you know, or they just?
Because
I'll have to look. I'll look that up later.
Yeah.
Right. Well, according to the box, at least it's the only one. Because usually the back of the boxes they would have like other characters you can get, and then behind his there wasn't. So.
Oh, so like because if you could get May and Sky and Fitzsimmons, I know that 2 characters, but I don't care.
They need to come as a
They go
set.
together like Captain Song.
Funko Pop is the new Beanie Baby. I've decided.
Yes. And I was bad at, well, not bad,
I'm
but
okay
I
with
was
that.
crazy with Beanie Babies. My sister and I probably had all of them.
Oh my.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
Back in the day.
yeah.
Anyway, okay, I'm done squeeing over Funko Pops. We need to move on.
Dear Funko Pop, if you're listening.
That's a whole new other episode we could do,
Yeah, bro.
probably.
Collectibles we don't need, but we have to have.
Mm-hmm.
We see, we want becomes need, and need becomes an empty wallet.
Yep. Absolutely.
Do that.
Okay.
Although I'm like, I don't have to get the whole. I just want to get a few certain characters.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But still.
Yep.
But I wouldn't complain if anyone gives me something I didn't really want, but...
True.
I don't know where I was going with that, actually.
Oh, good. It's all good.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we need to move on before I
Moving on. Move on.
spend money I don't
Sorry.
have.
Finger on the button.
Yeah. Stay away from the dang you hot topic. Anyway, so we mentioned this when we did our big San Diego Comic-Con episode a couple weeks ago. When we were talking about the Doctor Who panel, they had mentioned that the Nerdist helped put together a kind of special TV special that was going to air later this year, and now we have a premiere date for it and a description. It's The Doctor's Finest is the name of the program, and it will premiere on BBC America on August 15th. And in the show, it says that they'll revisit 8 of the most popular Doctor Who episodes of the past 10 years of Doctor Who's modern era, which is kind of redundant when you think about that description. But anyway, it'll be hosted by Hannah Hart, and there will be never-before-seen interviews with the cast and creators. There'll also be fun new segments, trivia, fan-generated content, and tons of Comic-Con footage.
Which I have already seen some photos. They had like a fan art wall that they, I guess, was it San Diego Comic-Con, or either that or at some BBC Worldwide office somewhere where fans sent in stuff. Anyway, I've already seen some of that, and looks pretty good. So, yay, fan stuff.
Yay! So.
I might have to DVR that because I probably won't remember because I'm bad at that.
We'll remind
Yay for
you.
grandparents.
Yep.
Yay for grandparents having that. So
DVRs, yay!
Yes.
So. No, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it could be a fun kind of fan-run thing, which will be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, woo! Speaking of fans...
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's gonna be similar to because they've done companion I forgot exactly what they call it, but they've done stuff like companions and technology.
Oh,
So
yeah,
is
yeah.
it something similar to that? Because it was hosted by, I'd noticed. Like the
they've done like little specials like that, and that's kind of what it wasn't. That's like what the Doctors Revisited was in the 50th anniversary year, even though that was hosted by the Nerdist, but it was kind of along those same lines, sort of a documentary thingy, type of whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure that all comes from Chris Hardwick, because he is a huge Doctor Who fan, and I'm sure any opportunity he can get to talk Doctor Who, he's all for it. So, FYI, if you've not listened to his chat with Peter Capaldi from San Diego Comic-Con, there's the Nerds podcast. They did a separate, like, live in front of an audience thing at San Diego, and the first half of it is with Sir Ben Kingsley, which that's awesome too. But then the second half of it is with Peter Capaldi, and it's just hilarious. Because the Nerdist does things very, very laid back, so it gives the celebrities an opportunity to not feel like they're constantly trying to like promote something. They can just talk about whatever.
That's kind of what Nerd HQ. That's kind of what Nerd HQ is with Zach Levi Chuck.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, he. So that's kind of, because I was watching some of those panels, and one of them was like the mystery guest panel, and there was a bunch of people. Then there was Colin O'Donoghue, Jennifer Morrison, and Josh Dallas, and they mentioned Once Upon a Time a little bit, but they didn't dwell on it. Like, they were just kind of, BSing with the crowd and talking just to the fans, and they were asking random questions. And I saw the other one was Stephen Amell did one as well, and he was just same thing, was like just talking about random cool stuff. So that was fun.
Yeah. So anyway, nice.
So if you get the chance to watch those panels, a lot of them are on YouTube, if not all of them. I don't want to say all are, but I don't know for sure. Yep. So
you can find the Nerdist podcast on iTunes. They'll be up near the top on list of most popular subscribed podcasts.
It's
quite popular. So anyway, moving on. Speaking of Doctor Who and fans, during the Guardians Edinburgh International Television Festival at the Filmhouse Cinema in Edinburgh, there will be a screening
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Okay, sorry.
Edinburgh. No, that's okay.
I'm gonna butcher it. Okay. There will be a screening of the first episode.
Scottish listeners.
Yeah, I know. Even worse if it's Welsh. Anyway.
True.
Don't get me started on Welsh. Sorry. Anyway, there will be a screening of the first episode of Series 9 of Doctor Who, The Magician's Apprentice. And that's all they've said. And I looked at that and I went, okay, and then I'm going to spend the next 3 weeks trying to avoid spoilers. Thanks, BBC.
Well, they often do these they've done pre-screenings, like, for the press and stuff, and the press has to sign, and even, like, a few lucky fans get in, and they have to sign, like, all kinds of non-disclosure stuff. Otherwise, they will get the crap suit out of them. If they do let spoilers loose.
Yeah.
I actually remember they did a screening for season 7. I don't remember which one. It was in New York, and I tried getting tickets, but I didn't get them. I was too late.
Didn't Name of the Doctor was either pre-screened or it leaked? I don't remember, but there was something and everyone was, and that was the one at the end with John Hurt as the Doctor, and that was the big surprise, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, and someone had said like I can't remember because it all's kind of running together
are
in my
you
head.
thinking of when Amazon accidentally sent out people who pre-ordered
That's
season?
right. That's right. Okay, yeah. Never mind. That wasn't what I was. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
And the spoilers did not get out into the wild,
Yeah.
and it was basically a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. Okay, never mind. My brain was thinking.
Yeah. It was kind of like the trailer for The Day of the Doctor that they had shown at a fan event, and Stephen Moffat was like, if this goes out on the internet, you're not getting anything until November 23rd.
Yeah. No more cool goodies.
Yeah.
I think that was at San Diego Comic Con, because I remember like a whole backlash of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everyone was like, hey, why don't we get the trailer too? And it's like, no, everyone in Britain, well, not everyone, but a lot of people in Britain was like, why don't we get the trailer? How does America get it? And it's like 5,000 people in one ballroom in one city got it. Not all Americans got the trailer.
Nope. We did not.
Anyway. I was like, we're just as clueless as you are, so suck it up.
Yeah.
Get over it.
I'm paranoid about spoilers with certain fandoms, and Doctor Who is one of them. So I'm all like, I see stuff up on Facebook and social medias. I'm like, don't click it, don't click it.
Recently, I haven't had time to be like on Tumblr and everything, and my mental well-being has actually improved. So there, and also I have not really heard any spoilers of anything that I know of, and I know like Once Upon a Time is filming, and I really haven't seen any like set pictures or anything because I haven't had time to look at Tumblr, and every time I go over to Tumblr, I'm just kind of like, I'm not that impressed with you anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ooh, excuse me. I guess that's a good thing.
So, yeah, I feel a lot more at ease about life now that I've kind of cut back my Tumblr consumption.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is I'm not being spoiled on stuff.
There's your PSA, people. Don't want spoilers? Avoid Tumblr.
Yep.
Yeah. Say no to Tumblr.
Say no to Tumblr. Say no to spoilers. Okay then. So that's it for news. A couple pieces of housekeeping because we are almost at the end of the month. The poll for the choices for the book club for August are up on Goodreads. So I think last I checked there were 4 whole votes. It was a tie between 2 books.
Go votes. Make your voice known or whatever.
Yep.
Give people what they want.
Yep. And
only vote. Well, I don't know if you can vote often.
No, you can't vote often.
Nope.
But you can
just
vote.
Only then.
Vote. Yep. But you can go vote.
Really
and there's pictures this time, so you can see the cover of the book.
Yes. So if you see one that has a title that you do not recognize, but then if you look at the cover and you're like, oh, I know exactly which one that is, and if you think that's a good one to pick, well, by all means, pick it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Back in my library days, which were 5 whole months ago, I had so many people come in and be all, I don't remember the title or the author, but I remember what the cover looked like. It was green or blue or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, what else do you remember about the book? It's like, do you know any characters' names?
Yeah.
Do you even know maybe the author's first initial?
I remember,
eventually we would get there, unless it was really obscure.
Yeah.
So anyway, Goodreads is something I can fully appreciate.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Yep. Oh, there's that. So vote, and I guess whenever the close probably at the end of the month, I'm assuming, is when voting will end.
So today, as we're recording, it's the 25th. This will probably go out either Sunday or Monday, whatever. And so you'll have, not quite a week, but the better part of a week to get your votes in. So go do it.
Woo! No. And then also, the end of the month also means a new photo challenge, which apparently Brittany came up with and decided to promote during Friday Night Who last night. I saw on the Twitter feed. Somehow she managed to connect Curse of Fenric to Disney. I'm not entirely sure how.
We were tangenting on Disney songs.
Okay, Sean started it because in Curse of Fenric, there's like the vampire fish girls going into the water, and he started singing "Under the Sea" on Twitter, and someone else kept it going. And then I chimed in with some lyrics, and I was like, "Oh, what the heck!" So I posted "Under the Sea," the YouTube video for "Under the Sea" during Friday Night Who, and then later, there's like a bottle in the episode, and it looks like a genie bottle. So I made a comment about, "Hey, it looks like a genie bottle. Wonder if Ace is going to get 3 wishes." And then Brittany posted, "Friend Like Me" from Aladdin, and so it just kind of spiraled out from there. So here's a plug for Friday Night Who. If you're not doing Friday Night Who, which is sponsored by Traveling the Vortex, and you can see every Friday night at midnight Central Time, 11 o'clock Mountain Time, and do the math from there. And we watch Doctor Who, either full story, or if it's a new Who episode, then we do that, just kind of whatever they decide to do. And we tweet along, and these are the kind of madcap antics you are missing if you're not doing Friday night. So if you can join in, I know sometimes you can't, but it's a fun thing to do if you have the time to join in. But we'll do like impromptu Disney sing-alongs because we can in the middle of Curse of Fenric.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I missed it.
Which is the exact opposite of anything Disney related, quite honestly.
Yeah.
It's very late, and some of us get very punchy at the end.
Yeah. But I guess it's not too surprising that we get into tangents.
No.
We're a spin-off of Traveling the Vortex. Of course we would get into tangents.
And somewhere in that tangent.
Anyway, that was a tangent.
Yep.
And I still don't think we've actually let Brittany talk about the photo challenge.
Anyway, Brittany, why don't you tell us about the photo challenge?
Okay, as you may have guessed, the photo challenge subject is Disney. And it's the favorites of Disney, and like I've done with similar photo challenges, the favorites of Doctor Who and so on. Picked 31 entries. For example, favorite new song and rant, stuff like that. Full list is on my blog, and I'm sure we'll share the link.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's really it for rules. I kind of really only, I guess, call them traditional Disney and Pixar movies in my mind when I did the list, but you can put in any other franchise that's Disney related, like Marvel, if you so choose and it fits. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Start.
The rules are there are no rules. They're
Pretty
more
much.
like
Interpretation.
Speaking of Disney related things, I just have to pop in here with this. So I came back from seeing Ant-Man tonight, right before we started recording, and I finally got to see the Star Wars trailer on the big screen.
Yay!
When I went to see Ant-Man.
I know, and it took me 3 months to finally see it, and I was promised it with Avengers. I didn't get it, but I got it with Ant-Man. So I'm just like, way to go, Cinemark Theaters. Way to go. I was so
it's
happy.
about time.
I was bouncing in my seat, and like there was people close to me, and they would look at me like I was a weirdo. I was, but
Yeah, well,
I don't care.
Well, you know what? Those same weirdos, they got up before the end of the credits, or the end of the credits of the Marvel movie. So I'm just like, ha, you suck, people.
I'm actually proud of the people because there wasn't too many people in my theater, but I was proud none of them left. So yay, people!
Yay.
My theater finally learning.
Yay, people in New Jersey! I don't know what's wrong with people in Salt Lake.
They had something
Figure it
better to
out.
do. I don't know.
I don't know. It's like, fine, leave.
Yeah.
I'll sit here and
Enjoy
catch up on my emails.
Yeah.
Yeah,
While waiting for the madness to ensue.
Yeah. I turned my phone back on and like nobody had bugged me all day.
Yeah.
Well, very few people had. And then like I go to a movie and I come out of it and then I've got like a million messages about just stuff. Some of it was anyway, we won't go into that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we better move on. This is what happens when I start getting silly.
No. You're in the right group.
There's a reason I'm in with this cadre of fangirls.
Yep.
Oh, and speaking of fangirls, one more thing.
Yes.
It's my little sister's birthday, so I have to say happy birthday, Shalane, because she could be listening, and she's told me that she wants to meet all of y'all.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
So she was like, are your podcast friends gonna be at Comic-Con? I'm like, probably not.
No.
Because she's going. She's like, I want to meet him.
Not unless we win the lottery.
Yeah. So anyway,
So
there's
sorry.
that.
Yep. Well, happy birthday to your sister.
Yes, happy birthday.
Yay.
I've seen her post on Facebook.
She is a doll.
Yeah. She's quite excited to celebrate her birthday. Alrighty then. Well, I guess we shall move on. I guess we're not really going to talk about Ant-Man, are we? Well, I know we tend to talk about the Marvel movies as we see them, but Ant-Man seems to be a hot button topic with some people.
Which I don't understand
Based on my Facebook feed, that the people that I know most people that I know have seen it, loved it. There have been a few exceptions where people have taken issue with not sticking to the source material as much as they would have liked, but yeah. It is.
Well,
it is what it is.
You know what? This is my. I will say this, and I know you just said we weren't going to talk about it, but I'm going to inject myself into it anyway.
Should we sound the spoiler warning just in case?
As I walked out of the theater, this is what I thought: it's not so much a movie about just Ant-Man. There's actually a team behind. It's like a team movie, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy was, because you've got Scott Lang, who becomes Ant-Man. You've got Hank Pym, who is sort of, the mentor type of guy. And then you've got Hope Van Dyne, who she is the woman on the inside to make this whole plan against Darren Cross work. And you have the ants, and they're part of the team. And then, spoilers for anyone out there who is still caring about this, you've got the little leverage team, I'm calling them, that gets brought in. So it's like, and it explains very well why Ant-Man was not part of Avengers originally, because it's its own separate thing. And then you also get the origin story for Hank Pym's Ant-Man, and you get the origin story for Wasp. And then you get the origin story for Scott Lang as Ant-Man, and spoilers again, you get Hope's Wasp origin story. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this movie that I think makes it work.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is an adaptation. All these all these comic book movies, all these Marvel movies have been adaptations,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just
Exactly, and they're adapted also for the largest
for
demographic of public consumption as possible. That because so if you're familiar enough with the comics, that in the comic book universe, that things can be very gritty and very violent and very not child friendly, and because
very grim.
Yeah, very grim, and that may be the source material that these movies came from, but they know that the people coming to these movies, there are going to be people like us and Chauncey, who are older and aren't bringing children to the theater, but there are going to be children that want to see the superhero movies, and therefore you're not going to see Tony Stark, comic book Tony Stark, who is drunk all the time and high on drugs and can't function. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to see Hank Pym from the comics, who beat his wife and was, not the most wonderful husband on the entire universe. Mm-hmm. So, they got to water it down a little, but it's still loyal enough to the material that,
And if you think about it, the Marvel Universe, it's a lot like Doctor Who. It's family friendly. It is something that the entire family can sit and enjoy. Like, you've got, our age group who, we're adults, none of us have kids, but we enjoy it. And then you've got, like, little 10-year-olds who want to see it, or, kids, like, there at the showing I went to today, there were families with kids that came in, and actually they were quite well behaved. I was surprised. and stuff like that. And it's like, everybody can enjoy them. So, if these kids, when they get older, or they want to seek out the comic books, maybe they'll start reading them, and then they'll as they mature, and they'll get into the more nitty gritty.
Yeah, the comic books as we know them, I guess. So, so that was my tangent. So, not really directed at any one person in particular, but just things that I've read on various reviews. And it's not perfect. It's not the I went into it expectations that it would be good, because I know that Marvel and / Disney hold themselves to a certain standard when it comes to these movies. I didn't expect it to be amazing like the Galaxy ended up being, but I fully expected it to be good, and it ended up being, which is always a good thing. Unlike Chauncey, who went into it and he fully, he went into it very skeptical, and was pleasantly surprised at how good it was. That last week too, as well. So, having technical issues. Oh no. Get sucked into the vortex. Don't get sucked into the vortex, guys. I can't do this alone. I don't know this topic that well. Don't go. Don't leave me. Okay, Chrissy's going to. We shall. Ooh, that was weird.
That was weird.
That was really weird. Alrighty, thank you, Skype.
Skype, we love and hate you.
Yeah. So. Anyway, as we're waiting for Chrissy to hopefully reappear here. So. I don't think that we'll go into. I don't think we'll talk about Ant-Man like we did like Age of Ultron and some of the other stuff, because it's it ties in, but it's not major canon heavy, I guess, for everything else.
Oh,
Lord. Brett. You're here. Brittany
Okay.
with the disappearing. Nobody's back. Chrissy disappeared. Chrissy comes back. Chrissy.
Am I back?
Chrissy's back.
Am I back?
Woohoo!
Okay.
Oh no, that's okay.
It just started dropping.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Skype.
Yep.
Curse thy name. Oh, okay. And people who don't like it, well, that's their loss.
Yep.
It took a while for it to get started, but that's just because they had to set stuff up, and I was okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we can gush and squee about some of the stuff towards the end off mic.
Oh yeah. Okay. But, there we go.
Yeah. I'll just reiterate. Stay to the end.
Very end. There is an end credit scene.
Yes.
Just because Avengers didn't have one, there's one here.
Yes. They planned that out for a reason.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here.
Exactly. So we lost Brittany. Goodness gracious.
Oh man, the vortex is not being kind to us today.
Nope, it is not. Not at all.
Rude.
Yeah. as she types in the chat. Well, this is fun. Yes, it is. We should take it as a sign that we need to...
Hello, Brittany.
Brittany. It's like NASA.
Okay, what were you saying, Rachel?
So we should probably take this as a sign to shut up and move along to other topics.
Let's get on to our topic at hand that we've chosen for this week, and maybe the vortex will stop being stupid.
Yes. So, alrighty
Anyway, so our topic this week is X-Men. Speaking of Marvel.
Yes.
Just not Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Still has the Marvel call beginning at what am I trying to logo?
Yeah, and it's Marvel Comics, so it's still very much family.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would surmise, but we're talking the movies, and as I was thinking about this topic this week, I would surmise that the original, well, I'm using the term original loosely because I'm lack of a better term, don't have one. X-Men along with Spider-Man probably is what really got the superhero comic book movies going, just in the modern era.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't think if X-Men and Spider-Man hadn't been successful, we would not be talking about Ant-Man and all these other things now, because that's what got people interested in these movies, that they could actually be good and fun and entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's funny
and
that
it did wonders for Hugh Jackman's career.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
It's funny that you use the term modern era, because the reason that we're talking about this is because earlier this month it was the 15-year anniversary of the release of the first X-Men movie.
Yeah, wow. I know.
I shouldn't be shocked because I was 10, but
yeah.
Thanks.
I kind of use the benchmark of when I was in high school as the modern era, because it doesn't seem like it's been that long,
mm-hmm.
but it really has.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when I started getting into all these superhero things, and that's before really I knew the difference between, Marvel and DC. I knew Batman and Superman were from a different company than Spider-Man, but beyond that, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Now I am older and wiser.
Yeah.
And much more studied in the culture of comic books.
Yeah.
not as many as some people that I could name, but I know more.
Yeah.
I know better.
Yeah, very, very much so. Very, very much so. So I kind of wish Chauncey was here to talk about this, but at the same time, it's probably good that he's not, because the X-Men are his absolute favorite comic book
Oh, and we wouldn't
superhero
get a
team.
word in.
And
We wouldn't get a word in edgewise.
Wolverine specifically is his absolute favorite, but he hates Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Absolutely hates him. He thinks he's too pretty, he's too young, he's not gritty enough.
Okay, wait. Wolverine, Hugh Jackman is too young. Well, okay, yeah, because Wolverine's like, what, 300 years old?
Yeah, something like that.
It's kind of like saying Peter Capaldi's too old to play the Doctor. It's like, actually, he's too young to play the Doctor.
Yeah. But since nobody lives to 2,000 years old, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I know. I can understand where Chauncey's coming from. I can get it.
Yeah. Although when they had their panel for I guess I don't know if it was actually during the panel or sometime during San Diego Comic-Con, that they had said that because it's been said and pretty much confirmed that Hugh Jackman's planning on hanging up the claws after the next solo Wolverine movie. And here in a couple of years, that they've said that the next one will be Old Man Logan, which made Chauncey perk up a little bit. It's still going to be Hugh Jackman, but what are you going to do? So,
yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, as far as the X-Men goes, my understanding of them and where my knowledge comes from actually comes from the cartoon.
Yeah, I did watch X-Men Evolution when I was in high school, and I totally fell in love with their portrayal of Kitty Pryde. Like, I love Kitty Pryde. I don't quite like the one that they have in the movies now, but the one in the cartoon, she was awesome. And I'm like, Anne, can't you get that one? Can't you get that characterization? I mean,
we also don't get a whole lot of her in the movies. Like,
that's true.
Days of Future Past is the most of we've had her in, really.
And I remember people whining that oh, she's the one in the comics that goes back in time. It's not Wolverine and blah blah blah. And I'm kind of like, well, the girl that they have playing Kitty Pryde, she's got about as much personality as dry toast. So maybe it's a good thing that she's not carrying the movie.
Yeah. Well, and if they're gonna have a character do something that's a major plot point like that with these movies, then they're gonna they're gonna use the character that is probably majority most popular.
Yeah, and that people recognize.
Yes.
And one thing I kind of wish was that the solo Wolverine, the first solo Wolverine movie, actually had been good, or that had been successful, because then we probably would have had more solo X-Men movies. Because I do remember they were talking about doing a solo Magneto movie, but once X-Men Origins bombed, they scrapped that idea. But then it kind of became the premise for X-Men First Class, and First Class is amazing. I love First Class.
Yeah, First Class is
I
a
don't
good
care that it screws around with continuity. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as Xavier and Erik Lehnsherr. Oh yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. She was excellent.
Very, very much so.
That was a good movie. Brought X-Men back, because at that point it was starting to be like, because you had X-Men 3, which was a dog, and you had X-Men Origins, which was an even bigger dog, and it was like, well, maybe the X-Men franchise is, not so good anymore. And then First Class came along and was like, oh boy, yes, we're back. Things are great.
It's like, guess who's back, people?
I was a little hesitant, like, when First Class, when they first started talking about it, because it's like, none of the, main cast, and I understood why, because they're all young on that, but it's like, this felt weird to me. And then when I went to go see it, I'm like, nope, never mind. This is good.
And maybe that's what they needed, was just to kind of show some of the backstory, and to give. I mean, I love Patrick Stewart, and I love Ian McKellen and Hugh Jackman and all those guys. I love them, but I think it needed a little bit of a soft reboot with some of these new characters, and then with Days of Future Past, you could meld the two. The reboot and the original together, and I like what a lot of people said, like, they just totally erased X-Men 3.
Yeah, they did.
It's like, good job, guys. And so now they're starting over with the next one, X-Men Apocalypse,
yeah.
Which apparently one of the characters looks like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers.
Yes, well, it's Apocalypse.
I saw that, and I'm just like, oh boy, this is going to be... I mean, I have no dog in this fight, really, but when I saw that character, I was kind of like, this is either going to be really, really good or really, really, really bad. It all depends on the way you guys play it.
Yeah.
And maybe that was just bad lighting. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of people compare, the shots that they've put out there of some of the cast for Apocalypse, and then compared that particular one, which I think actually is Apocalypse, to like someone's cosplay, and they're like, the cosplay looks better than the actual movie character.
So, but I am reserving judgment because things can improve.
Well, yes. I mean, the movie's not due out till next year, so I mean, they've got time to try and fix things, I guess. Maybe. Yeah,
which they have done before.
Right.
I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Yeah. So.
Or maybe it wasn't even X-Men. There was a movie that like they released some promo shot, and everyone was like, "This looks terrible," and they were like, "Oh, we better go fix that." So they did, and then it was like, "Oh, it looks better now."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah. That sounds like something that would have happened plenty of times.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, it probably has. It probably has. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, so
it's funny that, or not funny, but I guess interesting that you mentioned that they were gonna do more character standalone movies, and they scrapped that, but then they're actually kind of going back to that idea now with Gambit getting his own standalone movie.
That is true. And it's kind of like, I just forgot what I was going to say. Dang it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It's kind of like, I can't help but compare this to Marvel Cinematic Universe, because at the end of Avengers, we got, kind of Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, and some of these other guys, they're going to start phasing out, and then we'll get these new Avengers in. And I think a lot of what X-Men needs to do, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, Rachel, that Hugh Jackman is probably gonna quit being Wolverine here pretty soon. And so it's like, okay, well, you gotta have another set of characters to be sort of your franchise carrying, the one that everybody knows. And I think that's where Avengers has done really well in, getting people to know, like, Ant-Man and, Scarlet Witch and the Falcon, and now I'm just blanking on everybody right now. Vision.
They keep adding characters.
They keep adding to them. So it's like, even though some are leaving, it's like, well, let's get some new faces in here and get people to know them. X-Men hasn't quite done that, but they've tried. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that this thing with Gambit will do well. I would really love to see a good Rogue, maybe not a Rogue movie, but a good storyline involving Rogue. And some of these others, like I said, I really like Kitty Pryde, and maybe recast with the girl that they have. I don't even remember her name. I just remember I don't really like her because she's got this look on her face. It's like, you're not Kitty Pryde. I'm sorry. You just don't fit it for me. Or even, I mean, like, good grief, how many X-Men are there in the comics? Like, hundreds?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they keep popping out of the woodwork. I mean, Beast would be a fun one to do. I don't know if they were, with like Storm, they don't really do much with Storm, except and then in the third movie they're all like,
sorry, Storm's one of my favorites.
like a young Storm movie, because even in the first 2 or 3 movies, they really didn't do much with her. She was just sort of, and then all of a sudden they say, "Oh, you're in charge of the school," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, but but in the cartoon, she had a really good presence, and I know the cartoon, the TV show is different than a movie. I get that,
Mm-hmm.
but it just kind of seemed like more they were a team and not so much these separate entities.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, let's make them a team again. I like that.
Yeah,
I
think those of us of a certain age are a bit blinded. Well, yes, we were spoiled by the cartoon, series, because it was so good.
It was, yes.
And yeah, they make these movies, and we're all like, well, it's not like the cartoon. Why can't you make it like the cartoon?
And the cartoon is not like the comics, I'm sure.
Well, no. Again, like we were kind of talking about when we were talking about Ant-Man a little bit, it's just that the comics are generally more gritty and more dark and more adult. So anything that's made for the younger audience, it's going to be watered down. So they can't get into those storylines.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, because the little kids are going to be the one wanting to buy the toys. So you got to know your market.
And it's like adapting from a novel to a movie. It's 2 different mediums.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I mean, comic books may be visual, like movies are, but they're not. I mean, it's still a print medium rather than an audio-visual medium.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
there's like things you can do
take that into account.
Comics or books that you can't do in movies, and vice versa.
Yeah, there's stuff that you can do with animation or drawings that you could never do in live action, no matter how much CGI you throw at it. And that's okay.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's why there's all different kinds, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Well, I haven't even seen all of the movies, and I think that's mostly because, they're not part of the MCU. For one, I tend to stick to just the MCU as we know it. And also partially because Chauncey doesn't want to see them. So.
Yeah. And that's understandable. Although I did pick up a comic book, I can't remember how long ago this was. It was Avengers versus X-Men, and it was so strange to know X-Men movies are over here, and Avengers movies are over here, and they shall not meet. In fact, Avengers are not even allowed to say mutants, even though they have Scarlet Witch and
Quicksilver.
Which is also
I had to think of his name.
An X-Men. A character.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing. And so, like, I was reading the comics, I'm like, oh yeah, they're all buddies in the comics, but not in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting thing for me to get my mind wrapped around, and like, oh, I remember now.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, do you think we'll ever see the day where the MCU and the X-Men ever combine?
5 years ago, when did First Class come out? 2011? 5 years ago, I would have said Fox just needs to drop the rights to it and let Marvel have it back. Now that Fox has kind of revived X-Men their version of X-Men a little bit, I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon. Spider-Man, maybe at some point, maybe end up going back to Marvel.
Well, he already has.
Oh, he is, because he's going to be.
Well, he is, but he's not.
But
Well, yeah, but it's not. It's sort of this weird half custody sharing thing that Sony and Marvel have. So it's not
Well,
quite
he's going to be in Captain
there,
America,
but he's going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of strange how they're doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think
so. Spider-Man,
yeah,
I could see going back full time. X-Men, not anytime soon. Although I would be happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to hack Fox.
Hey,
pull a Sony and make them desperate to.
Yeah. Find someone's blackmail pictures.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Hey, yeah, we're getting Spider-Man back, so because of a hack. So
like, this is happening.
Which is, I'm sure, what the hackers had in mind when they did that. And
yeah.
Like, if we do this,
So anyway,
Spider-Man will go back to the MCU.
That was all a part of the plan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So anyway, so Rachel, you're not as familiar with it. Brittany,
no.
What are some of your favorite things about X-Men? Like favorite characters or storylines, or just
Well, I'm not too familiar with the comics, and it's been way too long since I've seen the animated, so I really kind of know mainly the movies. And
okay.
Well, like I said, Dawn was always in the cartoon. I remember always being my favorite, and like you said, she wasn't in too much of the movies, but I still liked one of them. And and I would say that I can't think now. The third X-Men movie, it's definitely nowhere near the best, but I do like how that they did kind of introduce a lot of more mutants in that one than they did in the first two.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't really do too much with them. They all kind of...
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, I think... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I lost my train of thought. If I remember, I'll come back.
Okay. Well, because I was just going to say, because X2 was so good. Like, it was amazing. And it did kind of feel like, okay, anything that comes after this is going to suffer from it's coming after X2. But it was like, okay, they didn't have to totally, on purpose, almost ruin it. Because, like, X2, you got the beginnings of the Phoenix storyline, which I remembered from, again, the cartoon, and I thought, I remember that being like really interesting and cool, and oh my gosh, Jean Grey, and she's one of the professor's star students, and then all of a sudden she goes nuts because of this, alter ego that she has in her brain, and it's like, ooh, they're gonna do something cool with that, and X2 was kind of setting that up, and it's like, sweet, this is gonna be awesome, and X3 totally crapped it down the tubes.
It would have been a whole lot better if it was just its own storyline, not mixed with the.
Hero. And I think did I say X2 or X-Men: The Last Stand? And I think this was kind of at the same time Spider-Man 3 was kind of crapping the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, so I guess these third parts in these trilogies are just flat out not going to work. So, why even bother? And it's kind of like, they should have just made the Jean Grey saga its own thing, and that would have been, like I was saying, flesh out some of these other side characters and not just as, accessories to Wolverine's backstory. Like, and that, don't get me wrong, Wolverine's backstory in X2 was phenomenal, but it was like, okay, you've had your time, let's let somebody else have a turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what Magneto said, it's not just about you. How he said it in the second movie. I can't remember now.
It's a, or why do you always think this is all about you?
Yeah,
something like that. Or in the first movie, because Wolverine thinks that Magneto's after him, and now he's like, no, he's actually after Rogue.
Or even
because Rogue's got.
Professor Xavier thought he was after Wolverine at first.
That's true. That is true. But it was just that little plot twist that you don't see coming until it happens, and it's like, oh, why do you want Rogue? Well, because I'm going to turn the world leaders into mutants, except you're actually turning them into freaky jellyfish people, because the experiment isn't stable. Which that Stan Lee cameo, that was before the Stan Lee cameo became a thing. When the Senator Kelly washes up on the beach and he's walking around and all the people are staring at him because it's like this jellyfish naked dude, and Stan Lee is like a hot dog vendor or something, but they don't really call attention to, hey guys, this is Stan Lee.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first ones that they'd ever done.
Is that the only cameo he has in the X-Men movies?
No,
no,
I can't remember
one, but I
can't remember.
I don't remember it.
If it was his second one, but I know because I just recently rewatched the third one not too long ago. He's at the beginning scene when they're going to get Jean Grey, and she's doing her telekinesis, and he's like watering his flowers or something in his
hose. He's what? Yeah, his garden hose, the water from his garden hose, like, goes up instead of down.
Yeah.
And he's out watering his lawn.
Huh.
That's in the third movie, isn't it?
Yes. At the beginning when Magneto and Professor Xavier are going to get Jean.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah, so he's in them. There's just the cameos just aren't as pronounced.
I see. Because that was one of those. One of the Stan Lee's cameos are one of those things that kind of tie them all together and make sure it's like, even though Fox, Disney, whoever, Sony, they're coming from all these different film companies. Yeah, you always have that Stan Lee cameo, which kind of connects them all together. So it's like, oh, it's all Marvel because Stan Lee's. But at the same time, you're like, wait, which one? Is this MCU? Is this Sony? Fox? What?
Yeah. And now I can't remember which one it is, but there's one that there isn't a Stan Lee cameo. I want to say Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I could be wrong with that he's not in it. And people were wondering, like, oh, what's wrong with Stan? Like, is he okay? And he was just like, yeah, we just couldn't get the scheduling together. Like, he actually went on his YouTube channel and told people, don't worry, it's,
Yeah.
Scheduling happened. And I can't remember which one it was. It's one that's fairly recent, and it was one of those that it wasn't an MCU movie. So that's why I think it must have been Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
which I still haven't seen, which I'm kind of okay with.
I'm trying to remember, because I've seen it. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, I know he almost didn't get his cameo in the first Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man because he couldn't travel for them to film it, but they ended up doing it's all green screen. The bit with him as the librarian with the headphones on.
Oh yeah, scene.
It's all they just filmed that in front of a green screen and then put all the action behind him. So yeah,
which makes it work.
Yes, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's the Stan Lee cameo is just
It is an art form unto itself.
It is. It is.
I love
if you don't believe us, YouTube, you search Stan Lee cameo school.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
It's like he has a cameo in Big Hero 6.
Mm-hmm. 2, technically.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he does.
2 that's not so obvious and 1 that's pretty obvious.
I guess it has a
I need to watch that movie again.
It's a good movie. So.
I want my Baymax bed.
Tangent.
Yeah.
Because last night, my boyfriend was texting me. He sent me a picture of like this giant life-size Baymax pillow. It's like you can lay on, and it's like this big squishy thing. And he was all, only $400. And I'm like, well, start saving up. And we laughed. It was wonderful.
I do have a
anyway,
plushie in the mail. Eventually gets here.
You do?
Yeah, I bought it on a whim. Like,
there we go with the whims again.
Hey, I like your version. I like your whims. Whims are good.
It should be here soon, and I post pictures and tease people. I guess I don't know.
Yes.
No one can.
So anyway,
you can't have him.
Baymax is cuddly, unlike some other Marvel characters. You're not going to see someone cuddling up with Wolverine anytime soon.
No, although people have tried. Referring to his dead girlfriend in X-Men Origins, which was like the most random relationship in any movie ever. It's like, who the heck are you? It's like, I am here to die, and like, okay,
I'm here as a plot point.
Yes, you are a plot point. Yeah. That's about it.
I'm here for character development. Nice to meet you.
Yep.
So, ooh, my, yes, X-Men. I don't, it may be one of those that down the line that we may watch all of them. We own some of them. Like, we own the first one,
Or
I think, and the second, and I think we own the first Wolverine movie. But that's it. I think by the time like Chauncey was holding out hope, maybe, and got the first two, and then got the Wolverine movie, hoping that maybe it would be good, and then it wasn't. I think he just gave up and stopped buying them. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I did buy for Days of Future Past came out. I did buy a box set that had the first, second. And it's got the third in it, and then it has First Class. Like, it totally skips over, the set totally skips over Origins Wolverine, and just goes right into First Class. And I bought it because it had First Class, and it was like $12 for all three of them. And then I sold, because I had the first and X2, and I sold those to my brother, because he wanted them. And I was like, here, you take them. And this has got the whole thing. So I'm like, I got them all.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, I only have Days of Future Past. I had the first and second one, but I lost them. I moved too much.
I don't know. I'll watch them one of these days. Maybe I'll have to watch them without Chauncey, so I don't have to hear him complain about how bad they are and how much he hates Hugh Jackman.
How whiny does he get? I'm curious now.
He's
not here to demonstrate.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
he should send feedback and tell us.
Yeah, he really should.
Send us feedback.
I don't think we've ever sat down and watched a movie where he's not enjoyed it enough to sit there and complain. Although when we go and do our Star Wars with friends, he might during episodes 1, 2, and 3. So I don't really have firsthand experience, but I have visions of us sitting down and watching, because we've actually did flicks with friends and did the first X-Men movie. Which one did we do? I don't remember which.
Did all of them, because it was.
But I don't remember which one I actually sat in on.
I think you sat in the first one. I don't remember now.
Yeah, it'd have to be the first or the second, because
you did.
It'd have to be the first or second, because those are the only ones we own.
Or maybe both.
No, we only sat through one of them, and he was good about it. But he also explained stuff to me because I was lost because I'd never seen it before. I thought I had, but it's actually X2 that I'd seen. So I'd seen X2 without seeing the first one. Which, if that's not confusing.
And it's interesting. Yeah. But, and it's interesting that we're sitting here and we're talking about X-Men, but we're talking about, like, the times we've seen it, or, you know, the how does it relate to Marvel, and how, you know, all these different other things. And, you know, how does Chauncey feel about the Wolverine as played by Hugh Jackman, and not very favorably. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, what other characters are in these X-Men movies? Like, you know, I mentioned Kitty Pryde in the movie, does not really appeal to me very much. I mean, I like Rogue, but she's kind of not in them very much anymore. I like, you know, the younger versions of Professor X and Magneto and Mystique. And I'm just I'm thinking, like, I mean, when going back to the cartoon, I remember Cyclops. Oh yeah, Hank, he's awesome.
I love. Sorry.
Oh,
Beast.
I was gonna say, like, I remember in the cartoon, Cyclops was decent, and Jean Grey and Storm, but they're not really in. I mean, they're there, but they're just sort of in the background and not really that interesting. And I'm like, how did this happen? Where these characters, and maybe it's just because I haven't seen it in a while. Like, how did these characters not become memorable? Just sort of the backdrop for, like, have they not figured out how to balance this team endeavor so much? I mean, and maybe I'm spoiled by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where I can say I love a character like Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, and that may be it. I mean, like, when you have that many characters, you know, it's really difficult to strike a balance where one or two doesn't suddenly become the star. Like, you think of the MCU, and it's like, you know, you've got kind of like your top tier, and then maybe, you know, I hate to do that, but, you know, that's the easiest way to explain it. Like, you have your top tier. You've got Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, and the Hulk to a point, although, you know, I really want to see a Hulk standalone movie with Mark Ruffalo. But, you know, now that we're introducing even more of these characters, you know, we've got Falcon and Vision and Scarlet Witch now and Ant-Man now. So it's like, you know.
And it's and we're just going to keep adding characters, but these are characters we actually care about. Like, you know, I've only seen Scarlet Witch in one Avengers movie where she was one of the crowd, but I still really liked her, and I want to see more of her, and I can't wait to see more of her in future movies.
Yeah.
And with X-Men, I'm like, you got Wolverine, and you've got Professor X, and you've got Magneto, and I'm like, well, that's great. Where are the others?
Yeah, and you know, of the movies that I've seen, the characters that I could name are probably more memorable because they're played by someone recognizable. And not so much because of the character. Like, I know Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine. I know that Patrick Stewart plays Professor Xavier, and Ian McKellen is Magneto. And I know that Rebecca Romijn was the older version of Mystique. And, you know, that Halle Berry was Storm. But it's not necessarily that those characters are memorable. They're just recognizable faces.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe that's a problem that Fox is going to have to deal with soon, especially, you know, if Hugh Jackman is saying he wants to leave the franchise because he's done it for 15 years, and you know, it's time to move on. It's like, well, you really haven't cultivated any new characters that people are going to want to connect with. And maybe my prediction of, X-Men's going to be with Fox for a little while, maybe if they don't handle it well, X-Men could be going back to Marvel, and we'll be getting all new X-Men and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I would be okay with. You know, an X-Men versus Avengers movie, I'd watch that.
Oh, yeah.
Something more appealing than Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, really. Anything's better than Batman versus Superman. That's a whole other tangent.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably tangent about that later, or we'll conveniently forget that it even exists. I routinely forget that it even exists.
I just want to say, when I went to go see Ant-Man, I had a trailer for that movie. Like, even on the big screen, we'll skip this.
I'm happy to say I did not have that trailer today. I got Star Wars instead, and I'm just like happy finally.
I got Star Wars after that, so I was like, yay, I can forget that one.
Yeah.
Okay. At least you got that.
Like, thank you, movie theater planners, that you put the Star Wars trailer at the end of the trailer, so it's a nice, happy, exciting trailer right before the movie starts. So,
yes,
you forget about the trailers for all the crappy stuff.
It's almost like when you go to a Pixar movie and you see the short before the movie, and you're just like, oh, this is great.
Yep.
I love movies. I love Pixar. I love Disney. I love Marvel. I love all of you. Come here and give you a big ol' hug. It's a great time to be alive.
Very much so. Very much so.
So X-Men, we'll see. We'll see how they cope, or how they manage this the next couple of years, and if they end up holding on to the rights for X-Men. And I'm sure Marvel would like those back. I mean, they sold the rights before they really figured out how to make, before they really became a movie studio on their own merit. Which, I mean, for the time, I can see why that became a thing. But it's like, now, they could do like a full-on reboot on their own and put it in part of their franchise, and people would go and see it.
It would not be unheard of.
Yeah.
No.
If you can be on your third Bruce Banner and your third Spider-Man, why not?
Why not, indeed?
I actually just saw a funny little meme with that, from a scene from Ant-Man about the whole, that he was done with the whole breaking in and stealing, and they put Spider-Man's face as, I'm done with this reboot. What do you want me to do? We want you to do another reboot.
Okay.
I mean,
and we haven't even mentioned Fantastic Four.
Again, tangent for another time.
I've been told Fantastic Four is just awful on every level.
Yeah.
Not the movie, and not just
as a team.
Yeah. The story.
maybe because I was
Mr. Fantastic is not a very nice person,
to
put it lightly.
Yeah. Again, the comics are not as family friendly as the movies.
So it's because I did, maybe because I was a teen when I saw it, but I did like the Fantastic Four movie that came out I don't know how long ago it was, but
it's been a while.
The one with Chris.
Did enjoy it, but it is so weird, like, watching it now, since Chris Evans plays a completely different character than he plays. His character in Fantastic Four is more like Tony Stark. It's kind of funny.
Yes, he is. Johnny Storm is such a freaking little jerk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he's very little redeemable about him. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, I don't know why I thought I enjoyed that movie at all. Maybe it's just because it was before Marvel really hit their stride, and I knew what a good superhero comic book movie could look like.
Yeah.
They do have Stan Lee cameos.
That is true.
So you do have that. There's a Stan Lee cameo in both of the Fantastic Four movies. So.
I can't remember the second one, but the first one, probably the same.
The second one, he tries to get into the wedding, and he's not on the list.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a YouTube video.
He's a male guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the mailman in the building in the first one. So.
Is there a cameo Stan Lee cannot play?
Nope.
Not at all. That was a purely rhetorical question.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
But I just wanted to reiterate the obvious answer.
Yes. Yes, I'm glad you did.
When I started watching Heroes and he had a cameo in Heroes, I was like, it's Stan Lee. freaking out. It's kind of funny.
He likes to cameo just where you least expect him to.
Can you cameo
Well, like,
in my
I
life?
was
Like,
watching
have cameo?
Ant-Man because I remember you saying it was a blink and you miss it cameo, and I kept thinking, okay, maybe in this scene, no, but I got to the end of the movie and I'm like, where's Stan? And he's like right at the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Avengers. It's like he's towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, and that actually did cross my mind. Like, well, remember in Avengers, he was like on the news screen thingy, so don't worry, he'll be there.
Yep.
I do like his deleted scene cameo better though in Avengers. That's all I'm saying. And because he has more to say, he's more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go see all of Stanley's cameos on YouTube.
Indeed.
They're there.
They're
you
there.
can find them.
Anyway.
Anyway, so X-Men.
Yeah. I'd rather talk about Stanley's cameos.
As long as Fox doesn't screw it up is kind of our consensus, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. So they can be good, they can be terrible, awful, and we're kind of want an X-Men versus Avengers movie at some point in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we'll take our grandchildren to see it.
It would be a really easy fight between Magneto and Iron Man.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. It's like, now wait, could Magneto pick up Mjolnir? Mew Mew?
Mew Mew.
I couldn't say it, so I'm like, Mew Mew. Could Magneto do it? It's one of those eternal geek questions, like, you know, who would win in a fight?
Is the hammer magnetic? I mean, have we ever seen it have magnetic properties?
Well, that's
true. The only time we've really seen it like flying through the air at any point is when Thor, you know, summons it and says, "Come here." Yeah. It's like, could Magneto pick it up?
I don't know. He'd have a heck of a
someone more knowledgeable than
we.
Oh, could
Captain America? Yeah, Captain America's shield wouldn't be much help.
What were you saying, Brittany?
I was saying, or maybe would like Xavier or Jean Grey pick it up with the telekinesis power?
Telekinesis.
Oh, that would work.
Now, if Rogue touched Bruce Banner, would she be able to Hulk out?
Good point. Because Rogue, they always say like she takes away like life force, and with mutants she absorbs their power. But you know, like Hulk and Captain America and Thor and Scarlet Witch is a mutant. I'm trying to think of who else has powers. And the Inhumans, like if she touched one of them, they're
like
not necessarily
Sky.
Mutants, but Sky. Like, would she absorb their powers?
I don't know.
So she could, you know, grab Thor and maybe she'd be able to pick up Mjolnir.
Maybe.
For a little, for a temporary, you know, temporarily, she could.
Maybe.
And then, like, after, 30 seconds, it would come crashing down. So maybe it wouldn't be a very good idea.
Probably.
I'm just spitballing here. I think it's an interesting line of inquiry.
Yep.
Just because we're nerds like that.
Mm-hmm. We should have our listeners write in and.
Yes, listeners, tell us about X-Men and Mjolnir.
Yeah. How do you think the X-Men crossing? Yeah. How do you think the X-Men crossing paths with the Avengers? How do you think that would work? I would love to see. Just because I know Chauncey can't stand Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I'd love to see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine though, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark in the same room together.
Oh my God!
Oh! I wonder if
ego.
So it's just some random guy. He's the guy that does the Marvel versus DC with the action figures on YouTube, and he actually made a couple new videos lately. He's been quiet for the past so long, but his Wolverine, oh my gosh, because there was back when because X-Men: The Last Stand and Superman Returns came out about the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and Bryan Singer, who directed the first two X-Men movies, went and directed Superman Returns, which left the third X-Men with a different director, and that's part of why it sucked so bad, because the director was not very good, and I don't remember his name. It's probably for the best. So they have this whole it's just some random guy has this whole video with Wolverine and Superman fighting because Superman stole X-Men's director, and Superman Returns wasn't very good, X-Men 3 wasn't very good, and so they're like both fighting about it, and his Wolverine is just so funny about the whole thing. I'm looking it up right now, so I'm talking and I'm trying to, let's see, Wolverine and Batman. Okay, Wolverine and Watchmen. Oh, there it is. Wolverine and the Man of Steel is like, oh my gosh, is just so funny. We'll have to put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
You guys, I'll put it in our Facebook chat at first, and then you guys can see it, because it is just. And I wonder, and maybe this is the better Wolverine. Maybe this is something that Chauncey could get behind.
Maybe.
Because he is, like, really kind of a jerk, but
Yeah.
a very funny jerk
Yeah.
at the same time.
Maybe. Just the personality,
Yes.
combinations are just, if anything else.
Yeah.
It's like they don't really have to fight. I just want to see certain personalities come together and see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what would be good matchups.
I mean, if you're talking, powers that would complement each other, like, I don't know. That's a good question. Like Storm and Thor, maybe? Because, I mean, Thor's got the power to harness lightning to a point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, he's the god of thunder, and so Storm has, wind, thunder, presumably snow.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess. Rain. Stuff like that. Let's see, who would Avengers would be telekinetic? I guess Vision.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet Witch, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess Cyclops and Iron Man, as far as like the laser beam thing.
Yeah.
I'm just going through. Beast and Hulk, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good.
I don't know.
People, write into us. Tell us.
Yes, tell
Don't
us.
make us do all the thinking.
We're just sitting here, speculating and theorizing on our own.
Oh God, could you imagine Magneto and Loki together causing mischief?
I want it. I didn't know I wanted it till you said it, but I want it now. Marvel, Fox, start playing together nicely. I want Magneto and Loki together. I want Ian McKellen and Tom Hiddleston on my screen together as Magneto and Loki. I want it, Precious, and I want it now. I didn't know I wanted it until you just said so.
Oh my goodness. Oh man.
Wow. Okay, I think we've reached our limit.
Yeah.
I'm getting cut off now.
World domination is at hand. And we're all screwed now.
We will enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
We will enjoy the ride.
Although as far as, world dominating overlords, those are not too bad ones to have, I guess.
No. Okay, Mitch just chimed in. She says Thor and Storm meet in this one comic that she's seen parts of, and they talk about their respective weather powers. So it is so Thor and Storm, that is not unheard of.
Okay, cool.
So there is hope for Magneto and Loki. This is what I have learned.
Oh my.
I've officially gone over the cliff, guys.
Yep, okay. If all we do is just keep speculating, it's just going to get sillier and sillier, so.
It is. Yeah. So anyway, listeners.
Yes.
Chime in with your thoughts on X-Men. Do you enjoy the movies? Do you think that there is a future with Fox, or could they go back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe? What are your favorite characters? What are your favorite plot lines? Where do you think Fox has done well or completely missed the mark? Anything X-Men, and if you have any insight from the comics or the animated show or anything like that, please chime in. And you can reach us at all of our usual outlets. Everything can be found at our website, the5ishfangirlspodcast.blogspot.com. You can find our email address, which is 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also leave a comment on our Facebook page. We read those. And thanks to people for commenting on the various random things we do post. Mm-hmm. Also on Twitter, we're on Tumblr, we are on YouTube and Pinterest and Instagram. And support us on Patreon. We do appreciate that. For all of our Patreon support, that does help us out a lot. Mm-hmm. And it fills us with a vote of confidence that, yay, you like our stuff. But we also like it when people comment and leave us reviews on, places like iTunes and other such things. So, like I said, it's all on our website, so everything's linked there. So check it out. And talk to us about this topic or any other topic that we have covered before. And I just heard my echo, which is a little disconcerting, but okay. Yeah.
The vortex is trying to suck some of you back in. I can see it happening.
Okay, well then we better heed the vortex because it's trying to get us out of here.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, vote on the book club, and then the new photo challenge is going to start up 1st of August. So that was all the other things I could think of.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So thanks for listening. You guys are awesome.
Yay!
Yay, friends.
Yep. And we just lost Brittany.
Okay, well, the vortex is getting very angry at us, and it has been
she's back.
all day long.
Exactly. Really?
So anyway.
At the end?
Okay, Brittany, hurry, sign us out.
Yes.
Go. Oh, before you
This is Brittany. Go to saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
If bitch was able to speak, she'd say good night from wherever she is camping at the moment, I'm sure.
Bitch says goodbye.
Bitch says goodbye. And this is Rachel, currently in South Bend, Indiana, saying good night, everyone. You have been listening to the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by their respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.